Welcome to the Grow Your Independent Consulting Business podcast. I'm Melissa Lieberman, a fellow IC and business coach. On this podcast, I teach you to become a consistently booked independent consultant without becoming a pushy salesperson or working 24/7. If I can do it, you can too. Listen on to find out how. Welcome to episode 209 of the Grow Your Independent Consulting Business podcast. This is Melissa Lieberman, and today I am so excited to share with you a concept that will help you with lead generation. And I'm really excited because this episode involves a lot of the different topics that I enjoy speaking about and I'm so passionate about, which are number one, lead generation. Number two, succeeding in your consulting business. Number three, getting out of your own way. And number four, calling you out a little bit. You might need it today. That's hopefully why you're here. Just a little bit of calling you out to help you to be more successful and to exceed your goals. Not only reach, but exceed the goals that you might be setting in your consulting business. So that's what we're here for today. I'm excited to dive in with you. Where did this episode come from? I thought it'd be fun to just give you a little bit of background on that. It's so fascinating to me, but oftentimes as I'm working with my private clients, coaching clients who are independent consultants like you, a lot of times the same themes come up in a given week. And that happened a few weeks ago where several clients in the same week came to me with the same exact challenge and also the same exact realization. So I thought it would be fun to really package this up as an episode for you, as a technique and strategy you can be leveraging, and also for them to be able to memorialize their learnings, partially through this podcast. So that's what we're here for today, and a little bit of the reason why we're talking about it, because, I'll share with you in more detail here in a minute, but so many of us face challenges with fitting in lead generation. And so that's why we're here today, is to help you address that challenge. So the agenda for today, first, we're going to talk about what are those common lead generation blockers so that we're setting the stage for what problem does this particular strategy solve. Then we'll talk about an important caveat I want to share with you. And then we'll dive into what is specifically this 7-minute lead generation routine. We'll then talk about success strategies to make the most of this strategy and success strategies to make the most of this routine, rather, so that it is effective for you and your business. And then we'll wrap up with the steps to put this episode into action. The companion resource that goes with today's episode is a standard operating procedure that I have written for you to fill your pipeline with ideal consulting clients. It's fill your pipeline with ideal consulting clients in 26 minutes per day, which at the time that I wrote it seemed like, a really easy thing to do, 26 minutes, but a lot of us don't even have 26 minutes. So when you look at this particular companion resource, what you'll be able to see is the compartmentalization that I'll share with you today in this 7-minute, even quicker version that's been working well for many consultants. So this will complement the episode in a way that you can implement it in addition to what you're hearing. So you can go download that at rammethod.com, RAM method.com. The RAM stands for the steps that you'll use. And like I said, you can take what that particular standard operating procedure and skinny it down to 5 or 7 minutes. It doesn't have to be 26. So go download that at rammethod.com. As an aside, I just have to tell you, I love buying domains. I don't know if you do too, but I'm a bit addicted to it. I have so many, a lot that I don't use, but a lot that I do. And it's fun to be able to give you those specific domains so it's easier to go type it in and download whatever the free resources are that I have for you. So rammethod.com. Okay. So with that being said, let's start off this episode and talk about what problem does this 7-minute lead generation routine solve for you? This is what I hear so often from independent consultants, and you may be facing the similar challenges either right now or for sure you will in the future. We all do. And the problem sounds like this. I don't have time for lead generation. Lead generation takes too much time. I need a block of time to devote to lead generation to make it effective, and I don't have that block. Or I'll set that block aside on Friday. And then Friday comes, and for whatever reason, you don't have the time anymore. And so then it just keeps this process of kicking the can down the road. I'm not sure what to do for lead generation. And so even if you do have the time, you're kind of frozen of, "Oh, what am I going to do?" And then you end up just squandering the time that you might even have available to yourself. Or perhaps you might think that some small action doesn't count. Those are the types of sentences that I hear so often. And they feel very, in a lot of ways, they feel very logical and practical and justifiable. You could show me your calendar and tell me you don't have time. You could explain to me what you're doing and why it might not count. You could justify any of these types of sentences that I just shared with you and make a good argument for yourself. But really, what you're doing is arguing for your limitations. And what I want to say to you is these are not facts. And that's why I was using the word sentences, right? They are sentences. How I know this is because when you need to fit something in, I know you do, right? If it's a deliverable for your client, you figure out a way to fit it in. If it's a meeting that you need to go to for your kid's school, you find a way to fit it in. If it's, an obligation that you promised your spouse or your family that you would be at, you find a way to fit it in. You can find a way to fit this in. These are excuses. The idea that you don't have time for lead generation is a lie, it's a justification, it's an excuse. And I say this to you with love because I say it to sometimes I tell myself the same thing, right? The truth of it is you do have time. And that's why I wanted to give you this idea of the 7-minute lead generation plan, which quite frankly could be accomplished in 3 or 4 minutes. But I gave you some buffer. I doubled it to 7. How do I know these are lies? Again, when you think about all the things that you have to do in your life, when they matter, when they count, when you are feeling forced to do them or inspired to do them, you do them. You get them done. It's the same thing with lead generation. It can be effective in as little as 2 or 3 minutes, 7 minutes a day, 7 minutes a week. If you think about Parkinson's law, work expands to fill the time available for its completion. I'll say it again. Parkinson's law, which is work expands to fill the time available for its completion. The truth is not that you don't have time. The truth is not that it takes, a big chunk of time to create effective lead generation activities and implement them. The truth is not that whatever you're doing won't count. None of that is true. What is true is you do have 5 minutes a week. You do have 5 minutes a day. You do have 7 minutes a day to focus on lead generation if you want to take that time. And that's the key, right? Our brain is designed to make up these excuses that you don't have enough time or the amount of time you have isn't enough. That's your brain working against you. All of our brains are set up to work against us. They're set up to protect the status quo. They're set up to keep you in your comfort zone. Of course, they don't want you to do any lead generation. You might be ghosted. Someone might tell you no. You might be rejected. You might fail. Of course, your brain doesn't want you to do this. The stakes can feel very high, right? And so that's why we end up creating all of these ideas in our mind, these justifications, these seemingly valid excuses. The truth of the matter is, you do have enough time. The truth of the matter is, you can make a very effective lead generation strategy work for your business in 5 minutes a day. The truth of the matter is, you just don't want to because your brain is trying to keep you from doing it. That's the truth. So, with that being said, what I want to say to you is let's think about this. Let's talk about what this 7-minute lead generation routine would look like for you. Knowing that, let's just revisit here. We set the stage that number one, lead generation is important to you and your business, even if you're fully utilized right now. If you don't believe that and you think, I don't want to generate leads because then I don't have capacity to fill them, then I really encourage you to rethink that thought process. I think you can go back to episode 190, which is about handling excess demand for your consulting business. We'll put the link in the show notes. If you're thinking to yourself, I don't need to worry about lead generation, I'm fully utilized, that's a different topic. Go back to that episode. It's incredibly important to stay consistent with lead generation. And usually the next objection that our brain throws up for us is, I don't have enough time. And that's why I want to share with you this 7-minute lead generation routine that can be incredibly impactful and compounding for your consulting business. And like I said earlier, this comes from very specific independent consultants like you who have been implementing this and getting really good results from it. This isn't just theory, this is real life in the real time success that other consultants are having that I want to share with you and also memorialize for them. So let's talk about what this 7-minute lead generation routine looks like. It's simply leveraging 5 to 7 minutes a day doing one lead generation activity. That's it. 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. You probably spent 5 minutes today going to the kitchen to get a drink or make a coffee. You have 5 minutes. I'm going to keep reinforcing that with you. You have 5 minutes and it matters. It matters. So let me give you some examples of what this might look like. This one simple lead generation action that you could take in a day. You might send one email to set up a networking call. You might even be able to fit in 3 emails to set up networking calls in that 7-minute period. You send one email to pursue a speaking opportunity. You might ask for an introduction from someone you know to one of your target client companies. You might follow up with some piece of value to your existing network. Hey, I was thinking of you, sending you this white paper, whatever it is. Those are examples of what you might fit into 7 minutes, which honestly is generous. You could fit those types of activities into 1 minute or 2 minutes, especially if you implement some of the success strategies I'm about to share with you that will set you up to do this. There's a list of examples in that SOP that I shared with you at rammethod.com. You can download them and see, a lot of different examples about what could fit into this time frame and make a difference for you from a compounding perspective. One simple action each day to compound and to fill your pipeline so that you aren't ever left without work, so that you have the ability to hit your revenue goals and do the type of work you want to be doing and not feel forced to take on work that you don't want or clients that are red flags for you and you talk yourself into them because you have nothing else, in your queue. This matters. So when you think about those simple activities that you could very easily fit into 7 minutes in a day, what will set you up for success are thinking about these 4 strategies that I'm going to share with you and implementing these 4 strategies I'm going to share with you. Have yourself organized. It really comes down to being organized. When I listed out those examples, sending 3 emails to set up 3 networking calls, sending one email to pursue a speaking opportunity, asking for an introduction to one of your target client companies, following up by sending some value to your existing network, all of those things are incredibly simple. The way to make it easy for yourself is to have a running list, to know, okay, this is the list of people in my network that I haven't talked to recently or that I haven't talked to in years, or people that I would love to add to my network. These are lists of companies that I would love to get into and who do I know who works there or is connected to someone who works there. These are organizations or associations that I would love to get my foot in the door to do some speaking opportunities. Those kinds of running lists where you've previously done the research, batch that up and done some research. Again, that doesn't have to take a long time either. If you might even spend your 7-minute allocation in a given day to do some of that research. But always having that running list so that you're not left trying to figure everything out. You set yourself up to be able to go execute that quick email or that quick reach out or that quick proposal that you might want to send to a speaking engagement, as an example. So, always having that running list for yourself so that you never are left trying to looking at a blank piece of paper. Number 2, setting up templates for yourself, starting templates. I used to argue with myself all the time, that's going to feel impersonal. I'm not going to do that. I'll just make it up as I go. And of course, you could make it up as you go. You could even, use ChatGPT to get you started with something you might want to say in one of these emails. But recently, I set up my one page CRM system, which is the CRM system, to have these templates. I don't use the template each time verbatim, but it gives me a really good starting place. So again, I'm not looking at a blank piece of paper. I've also heard from so many other independent consultants who are doing the same thing, setting up these templates in their CRM, whether you use one page CRM or something else. And therefore, you just have a quick, you know who you want to reach out to. You have a quick way to get started with what you're going to say, and you can easily fit that into a 7-minute block. Again, I think you could fit it into 2 or 3 minutes. I just gave you some buffer. So, having the four strategies to make this easier are: number one, having yourself a running list, like always knowing who are the next 20 people or 20 organizations or 20 associations that you want to reach out to. Having a starting template for yourself, having this organized in some form or fashion in a CRM, for example. And we'll put my affiliate link to One Page CRM in the show notes. Again, no reason to pick that specifically, although I've got a quick start guide for you that helps you set it up. To me, I've after testing so many of these CRMs, that one works incredibly well for our business model. But even if you don't use One Page CRM, definitely put it in some form of a system, even if it's a Google Sheet. Get yourself organized. And finally, the fourth strategy to make it easier to implement this 7-minute lead generation plan is the mental side of this. That's the biggest uphill battle you're facing, is not the organization, really. I know you know how to get organized. I'm just reminding you. I also know, and you know what to do, that you want to be reaching out and having conversations with potential clients, with collaborators. At the end of the day, it all boils down to that: how you create those conversations, whether it's posting content or reaching out and networking, however that is. You know the strategies at the end of the day, but the key here is the mental side of this to actually move forward. The simplest strategy I can share with you is the phrase, can I just? Can I just open my CRM and find the 5-minute thing I'm going to do today, the 7-minute thing I'm going to do today? Can I just open an email and start writing it? Even if right now I don't intend on sending it, can I just get started? How many times have this happened for you? You don't want to do something like, let's say, a proposal, and you procrastinate and justify and think about how later will be better. And then you finally have to do it. You open up the document and you start going, and then it's not so painful. It's the same exact thing. Can I just get yourself into that mental space every single day in this 7-minute block? Can I just? Can I just open my CRM? Can I just open an email? And then that will help you to get the ball rolling for you. So that's a mental side of this. So the four strategies are having that running list, creating some starting templates for yourself so you're not looking at a blank piece of paper, having this organized into a CRM so you've got it really readily available for yourself, and then finally having the mental fuel to follow through, such as, can I just? This is the 7-minute lead generation routine for your consulting business. To recap, this is all about 7 minutes or even 5 minutes matters. It can make a huge difference to your pipeline. Don't squander it or throw it away by thinking I don't have enough time. Number two, get yourself into that mental headspace that this 5 minutes or 7 minutes does matter, and I can make the most of it. And I can create leads working 7 minutes a day on my lead generation process. And these leads matter. I want to have the option to pick and choose who I work with and how I work with them and what I charge. To put this episode into action as we're wrapping up here today, I highly recommend that you test this out. Challenge yourself. Maybe you need to start with 10 minutes. It's okay. You have 10 minutes too, right? Test this out and figuring out, how can I get myself to the place of 5 minutes a day for lead generation? How liberating would that be? 7 minutes a day for lead generation. How liberating would that be? implement the strategy that I just shared with you today and see how it can work for you and what might not be working as well so that you can optimize it for yourself, evaluate and iterate. And if you want help with this, reach out. You can book a consultation with me. This is what I do as a coach, help you to get out of your own way so that running this business can be more lucrative and more fulfilling and more sustainable. You can find a time on my calendar at consultmelissa.com. My name is spelled Melisa. It's missing some letters, consultmelissa.com. And I look forward to meeting with you and hearing more about you and your business and your challenges and coming up with strategies like these to help you become more effective and to reach beyond the goals that you ever thought were possible for you and your business. All right. I will see you again next week. Take care. Thanks for joining me this week on the Grow Your Independent Consulting Business podcast. If you liked today's episode, I have 3 quick next steps for you. First, click subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to make sure you don't miss future episodes. Next, leave me a review in your podcast app so other independent consultants can find and benefit too. And finally, to put the ideas from today's episode into action, head over to melissalieberman.com for the show notes and more resources to help you grow your consulting practice from your first few projects into a full-fledged business. See you next week.